This conference will now be recorded.
All right, it is 7:01 p.m. We are going to call our meeting to order on April 23rd. We will start with our flag salute and moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Karen, can we get the sunshine statement and roll call, please?
Sure. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given by filing written notice with the Township governing body and the Township clerk, mailing written notice to the Township's official newspapers and Township website, posting written notice on the official bulletin board in the Chesterfield Township Municipal Building, and providing notice to all who have requested same. Ms. Botcher?
Here.
Ms. Codestale?
Here.
Mr. Lika?
Here.
Mr. Pamphili?
Here.
And Mayor Hughes.
Here. Are there any agenda matters requiring recusal?
Approval of minutes, April 9th work session, abstain from that.
Mhm.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of minutes from the April 9th work session, regular and executive. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving into public comment part 1. You have 3 minutes to speak. Please start with your name and address. Anyone is welcome to come speak at this time.
May I 16 Chesterfield Crossroads Road. I just want to say that I am for the suspension, temporary suspension of the HPC. I just want to make my intentions known. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will have a public hearing on that specific ordinance, and we will also have a public hearing on that resolution, just for the audience's awareness. Anybody else who wishes to speak in public comment part 1? Seeing none in the room, is there anybody online? Seeing none, can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving into our ordinance for public hearing, ordinance 2026-10, an ordinance amending chapter 123 of the Code of the Township of Chesterfield entitled Historic Preservation to provide for temporary suspension of the Historic Preservation Commission operations during ordinance revision and making certain other related revisions. Can I get a motion and a second to open the public hearing on ordinance 2026-10?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there anybody who wishes to speak on this ordinance? If you could just start with your name and address, please.
Sure. ORVA and Tom Morgan, 26 Church Street, Crossways. I want to thank the committee for this undertaking. Appreciate your efforts. I know it's been contentious on a lot of fronts, but I think consideration for the residents of Crossways. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, is there anybody online?
I think we have one.
Oh, you wanna?
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Gray, and we're at 13 Crosswicks Chesterfield Road. And hopefully, this all gets resolved, because I really don't feel like our houses on our street really belong in this district, so this would be a great opportunity for us on our end. I would like to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're working on it. Anybody else in the audience on the ordinance? Okay, anybody online? Okay, with that, can I get a motion in a second to close public comment on the ordinance?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Karen, can we take, I guess, can I get a motion and a second on the ordinance?
So moved.
I'd like to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a second first? Let's get a second.
Second?
Second.
Then we have discussion.
Now we'll have discussion.
This has been a very controversial situation
for the past few years with the HPC, and I feel very badly for the volunteers in the HPC. I think that them, and that's been an issue in the past, I think that our volunteers in this town are not given the due consideration, are not being given the thanks and the gratitude that they deserve, number one. Number two, I think that this ordinance as it's written, I don't see anything in there in the ordinance itself that refers to HPC issues or historic preservation issues going to the planning board. My understanding from our conversation at the last meeting was that even while the HPC was in suspension, that the planning board would be looking into these matters.
I can tell you, I've looked at that. The only circumstance that could occur during the suspension would be if there was already a development application that would be going to the planning board that involves a historic property where the planning board can utilize the historic preservation element of the master plan to make any recommendations or conditions of approval for that development application. But I want to be clear that if there is a suspension of the HPC per this ordinance and then per the resolution that's on the agenda, that the operations of the HPC, which is advisory in nature, would halt. So they would not be permitted to provide their advisory recommendations or reports to either the planning board or to Glenn or the permit for permits. It's a suspension, so there's no in between. I did try to see if there could be an in between, but in my opinion, that would be illegal under the municipal land use law. So again, if it passes and it's voted upon and the resolution passes to actually suspend the operations, then those operations are suspended for that period of time.
So does that mean that that no one in the historic districts can do any work on their homes? Or does it mean that they can do work on their homes without any oversight whatsoever by this body, the planning board, or anyone?
Yeah, I mean, the ordinance does not prohibit work being done on homes. I don't think we could do that. As a township committee, I don't think you would be authorized to do that. So, yeah, so it would be a suspension as it's stated.
So we don't know how many properties or applications would be realistically affected during this 180-day window, right?
Yeah, you don't know.
It will force us to be efficient to get the new one in place as quickly as possible.
It could be less than 180, I mean, it could be 30 days if we can.
If we would stop debating it and get it done.
Oh, I agree with you there. I'm just saying though that I think I've had several people who were on the larger body that looked at this, asked to have this, once it's rewritten, to have a chance to look at it. I'm hoping we'll be able to do that next week. And then have them meet and look at it. That's the decision this body has to make. But here again, I think that the input from volunteers and from knowledgeable people is important. And I don't think we're doing our due diligence, and I don't think that we are meeting the needs of our township if we're not having as many eyes, educated eyes, look at this ordinance as possible. In an expedited fashion, I agree. We can hopefully get that done very quickly. The other thing is that I'm assuming then that means that this body is agreeing to go ahead with enacting the ordinance prior to the survey being done and all the other.
No.
Okay, well then that's going to take
No.
months.
The reason we're at this spot is we disregarded everything that happened prior to the ordinance. If we don't stop the ordinance, we are having an ordinance that in effect is not supported by the municipal land use law because we haven't designated any properties.
So I agree with you, Leo, but what I'm saying is that that's a huge undertaking. It's going to take a long time to finish and complete that survey.
I don't disagree.
And Lorraine have done a lot of work on it. I've been helping them to a slight degree. But because I've been helping them to a small degree, I recognize that in itself is going to take you know, because it's not only designating, it's sending out the letters, it's having the public hearings, so on and so forth. So I think we need, I would hope that this body would fully recognize what they're doing when they do this. Because it could be a lot of properties that are being worked on, that are being built during this period of time, that will not have, and I don't know that, we have a couple people here who are happy with that. I don't think the majority of the people in Crosswoods are really happy with that. That's my 2 cents.
Understood.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Janice here, and I think we may be doing a disservice to our volunteers who serve their time on the HPC by undermining their expertise and by fully suspending, or, I mean, temporarily suspending the functioning of the HPC for those many days. If there is a way that we could, you know, if we could give consideration to maybe limited or modified functioning instead of fully suspending their operation, that's where I stand. And because I do have concerns about potential gaps in oversight, and they're not there to do their due diligence.
Churchy, what modifications would you suggest? Or limited oversight, if we were to not take away everything, what would the limitations be that you would recommend?
No, so so usually what happens is the HPC, the applications have to be presented in front of the planning board. And I serve on the planning board, and I know most of the times, I would say 95 to 98% of the times, the planning board approves whatever has been approved by the HPC. So now we're going straight to the planning board. I mean, how do we move ahead with those applications? Do they have the expertise to sit and they can
No, my understanding is that they're not even going to be reviewed by the planning board, correct?
Is that right? Is that how it's?
Right, unless it's a development application that would have to go before the planning board, but it's like a subdivision site plan and it deals with a property within the historic district, then yes, the planning board would then have an opportunity during their review of the site plan and the variances or whatever associated with to make comments and recommendations or conditions on the historic aspects of the application. But a straight, like, let's say application for like a fence or something like that is not going to go to the planning board during this time, because they're not typically the ones who would grant that in a normal circumstance. If there was no HPC, that would just go to the zoning official to make, to give the permit for the fence or deny the permit for the fence, things like that.
Dominic, correct me if I'm wrong, but if there was a worry about a gap, the village zoning could not, everybody confuses village zoning and HPC. HPC, even when it's revised, it's only going to be in effect have jurisdiction over houses that have been designated, which is significantly less. Correct. Do we agree with that?
Right.
Okay. So we talk globally anyway about the village in Crosswicks. Not every house in Crosswicks is going to be governed by the revised HPC, the commercial land use law, because not all of them are relevant.
Right.
So if you're worried about an architectural standard for a bridge, you could modify the village zoning, which exists, with the architectural standards that are in place now. And that could be done via, I don't think you can do that via ordinance. I think you can do that via resolution, or do you need to do it because you're modifying?
You would do it by ordinance.
So if they're worried about a long gap, you can modify the village zoning to have architectural standards in the interim till the HPC comes back, because it has to have it anyway, because the HPC is not going to have jurisdiction and or oversight of houses that are not relevant and designated. And I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident I'm fairly close in what I just said here.
That's accurate.
So if there is worry about a gap, which that gap's going to have to be filled anyway, because under the research that has been presented to me, the HBC is acting out of, quite frankly, just jurisdiction at this moment, because the work prior to the ordinance hadn't been completed.
I'm not going to make a comment one way or the other
okay.
on that, because
I got it.
There's arguments both ways, and it's, to me, the history is very wishy-washy, and it's like it's piecemeal. So it's hard for me to make a full determination as to what and what didn't happen, which I think is why the committee's taking the action it's taking to correct it and just make sure that it's clear going forward.
So But if there is a concern about a bridge of no jurisdiction in the village, in the area that's zoned village zoning right now, that can be supplemented with the architectural standards that is there right now.
Yeah, we just have to amend the zoning
Correct.
to do that.
So that is an option that could give everybody the protection that it would want. And in the event they had an application, then that could, outside of in the village zoning that did not meet the standards, then that would have to go to the planning board. And that is totally without the HPC until the HPC is conformed correctly.
Thank you, everybody, for the discussion. Karen, can you do a roll call on ordinances?
Sure. Ms. Botcher?
No.
Ms. Codestale?
No.
Mr. Lika?
Yes.
Mr. Pamphili?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes. Moving on to number 7, ordinance for introduction, ordinance 2026-10, and ordinance adding chapter 113 to the code of the Township of Chesterfield entitled Filming to establish regulations governing filming activities on public and private property.
Yeah. You said Township, it's 11, just for the record.
Oh, it is.
No worries. Go on.
Thanks, Lee. Ordinance 2026-11. Can I get a motion and a second on the ordinance for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Sure. Ms. Botcher?
Yes.
Ms. Codestale?
Yes.
Mr. Lika?
Yes.
Mr. Pamphili?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
All right, public hearing will be May 14th.
Okay, now we are moving on to our public hearing on the 2026 municipal budget. We're going to move down and join our CFO. I'll present. So as per what is annually done, we have a presentation on our 2026 budget. I was lucky enough to partner with Wendy this year on our presentation, so we're going to share this microphone, and feel free if anybody has any questions up there to interrupt and ask questions. Otherwise, we'll
We do.
We have public hearing
Please
after.
note that there'll be an opportunity to talk. Okay, as we move on, the budget always starts with the same way, which is dealing with the cap laws in the state of New Jersey. These are actually a little more important this year, because we are coming to the point where we have let, you as the general residents and taxpayers, we've let you know this is an issue for the township that will one day lead to a vote. And we have reached this point. We are able to meet our cap law for the levy. We are not having any problem with the tax levy. We do go to the finance board on the appropriation end. And we do believe that next year we will be on a vote for both of them buying some wonderful, unexpected benefit showing up to the township. So we're gonna spend a lot of time over it. Once the budget's adopted, we're gonna keep educating, we're gonna keep bringing the information out there so the public is just fully informed of the challenges that will be coming in 2027. So we did go this year for the waiver. The waiver includes the police salary and wage and ambulance services. It was $572,000, which is a nice reduction from the prior year. The steps that were taken by the governing body helped reduce the amount that, makes us have to ask for consideration of adoption. So the finance board on April 8th did approve us, and that allows us to continue the steps that we get to adoption. As I said, next year, 2027, we will go through and discuss further how we're going to handle those caps. I like to start with the 10-year tax history. We do go back to those that have been here since that awful year that we had a nice increase and then we had to do a decrease. We have stuck into the goal then, which was stated by all residents at that time, to just try and manage it very step by step. So you can see that we have, as well as the other disciplines, all 5 of the disciplines that get taxes, your county, your schools, your fire district, everybody has worked hard to at least provide some stabilization and get away from high spikes and low spikes along the way. We break down where we were last year. The average homeowner on the average house was paying just to the township a little over $1,700. That's on an average house of a little under $395,000. As we are going to have a budget that is having a zero impact, when we get to it, the 2026 breakdown is going to look very similar. It's really just off by a couple of pennies from the prior year. This is always where we put out the little Pac-Man graph. We can see that in the little grayish blue there at the top, somewhere between like say 12 and 2 o'clock. That's the township portion. All of the other entities is what makes up your total tax bill. You pay your total tax bill here to the township, but the township only retains 12% of it to run police, public works, your administration, your ambulance services, et cetera.
Moving on to our budget process. We did things a little differently. A lot of things were done the same, but we did things a little differently, and I think we had some big results because of it. First thing, what happens every year, all of the department heads submit their requested budgets to our CFO so that she can compile them. Wendy then compiles them and distributes them to the township committee for our review. Once we received the budget, the compiled expenses this year, we spent a lot of time reviewing it. I put in there that we reviewed the budget independently because I know that myself and I know that everybody out there spent hours going through the budget and really trying to understand it and understand where the dollars are going. And then we had 3 public scheduled budget workshop meetings where we did a lot of the same, but we did it publicly. We invited each department head. We had our CFO, we had our clerk, we had Troy from Public Works, we had our police chief, we had everybody come meet before us. And we asked them questions, and we really were able to learn a lot about their specific budgets, find out what priorities they really had, if they thought that they were able to cut anything. I think I asked every department head, if you had to cut, what would you cut? Where could you cut? Because we had a goal, and I had a goal when I became mayor, and I know a lot of my colleagues up there have the goal, which was to not increase our taxes this year. At the same time as this, our wonderful budget advisory committee, which we'll shout out on the next page, they were meeting. They were putting together recommendations that they shared with the township committee. They had a lot of really great recommendations that we were able to incorporate into our final budget. Based off of their recommendations, based off of the conversations that we had with department heads, based off of our own input and expertise, and based off of what we heard from the public, based off of us talking to residents and hearing what they thought was important. We met with the CFO. We made a lot of changes to the initial budget that was given to us at the beginning of the year. And again, I wrote it on there because it's just so important, but our goal is to maintain our services, to increase them if possible, and to have no tax increase on our residents. Our budget was introduced on March 12th. It was introduced meeting this goal, and I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really proud of the team that we have up there. I'm proud of our township folks. I'm proud that we were able to listen to our residents and give them a little bit of relief in what is a tough time for everybody. On April 8th, I know Wendy mentioned that our cap waiver was granted. That was when she went with the local finance board. That brings us to today, April 23rd, our public hearing on the introduced budget. You're also introducing a budget amendment, which Wendy will detail in a few minutes. And then on May 14th, we will have a public hearing on the budget amendment, and we will adopt the budget at that time. I mentioned our budget advisory committee. These folks are all volunteers. I have such a deep gratitude for all of our township volunteers, but especially for these folks who come in and look at the budget by choice, who come in and are handed, hundreds of pages of numbers and deep dive it and meet and volunteer their time and spend their time and go through it really just to help the town. And I think that's so amazing how we have such a great group of people that does that. Like I said, they met with the CFO, they met with the administrator, they sent us a list of recommendations, a lot of really good ones, and a lot of ones we're able to really help as we developed our final budget. Goal and projections. I know I've said it, but the goal was to budget a sustainable, fiscally responsible budget that reduces spending, does not overuse our surplus, and maintains or increases our current level of services, all with no tax increase to our residents. I know the last couple of years, two of which I sat up there and the ones before that as a resident, it's it's hard when every year our taxes go up, and I know we're only responsible for this on that pie chart that I want to blow up and wallpaper our walls with. We're only responsible for that tiny little portion of. But to not increase that tiny little portion, I think is a real step in the right direction. So what was cut out of our budget? What are some of the things that we took out? Really, we asked a lot of our department heads to do more with less, and I'm grateful to them for being willing to do so. We cut almost $10,000 out in office supplies, various computer and copier expenses. We cut out the new police vehicle. It's something that the Budget Advisory Committee has recommended every single year since I can recall. It's something that we've had many conversations with with various committee members. Does the police need a new vehicle every year? And of course, we support our police and we want them to be safe and we want them to have the equipment that they need to be able to do their jobs well. But do we need that vehicle every year, or can we save the almost $100,000 that it costs? And this year we decided to save that money and revisit it in future years. We cut out our taxpayer appropriation to Harvest Fest. Our Harvest Fest is wonderful. Rachel does an amazing job planning it. We have amazing vendors. We have games and pumpkin painting. I met with Rachel earlier and we talked about all the fun new things that she's going to give us an update on later tonight. But the taxpayers paid for it every year. They paid out of, they paid $10,000 for it every year, and we took that out because it's now fully funded by sponsors, because Rachel does such an amazing job getting sponsors, because we have such an amazing community that is willing to sponsor and help. And we made the decision as a committee last year to charge very minor vendor fees. Our vendors have been very receptive, but again, it helps take that taxpayer burden from Harvest Fest away. And then we cut a lot from Public Works. And I'll get to our challenges in a minute, but we cut a lot of dollars from Public Works in various stormwater management line items and parts and supplies and equipment. Because their budget is one of the largest pieces of our overall budget. And then there were just miscellaneous things here and there that we were able to take out that we can do without. And I say all of this, we cut a lot, and you may look at the chart and say that our overall budget is not that much less than it was the prior year. If you look at, than what was proposed. It was proposed at almost 6.9 million. Our final budget was 6.741. And we cut a lot, and it was a very, very challenging year. And I know most people in this room are feeling a lot of those challenges in their homes, and we're feeling a lot of them at the municipal level. It's just at a much higher level. There's so much in our budget that's out of our control. It's inflation. It's the huge increases to utility bills that everybody's feeling in their home. I know my bill, my JCP&L bill, I think is double what it was at this point last year. The township feels the same. It's our huge increases. It's electric, street lights, natural gas. Gas prices are only going up. Cell phones. It's all of those things that increase. Health benefit increases. I knew it was a lot. I went back right before this meeting when my kids were eating dinner. It's almost $200,000 that our budget has to withstand in health benefit increases. And that was with the Township Committee doing the hard work, and with George, our administrator, doing the hard work of evaluating any other potential option for health benefits for our employees, and working really hard to get them into this program that is going to save some money, but there still is just huge increases. We have a lot of new regulations from the state in stormwater and in other areas that are just very, very costly on the town. So we had to deal with all of these challenges, all of these increases in our budget, and we're still able to cut. And I want to say that because I'm really proud of the team that we have, that we're able to really work on this and do this. And we used, I know Wendy talks about our surpluses decreasing, and surplus is, not an accurate definition of what it actually is when we refer to it as surplus. But our surplus is in better shape after the budget changes that we made. We have more surplus left with the changes that we made than what was initially proposed to us back in the beginning of the year. And then I just thought that this would be an interesting one to share, our 5-year township tax. And I won't go through all the numbers. I know folks can see it on the screen and it'll be on the website. But just to highlight, I mean, we are at where we were last year. We were able to do no increase. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Wendy.
Okay, so as normal, I provided information to those that actually want to provide some analysis. I know the budget advisory takes a look at it every year. So I just wanted to show some of the challenges in revenue. So we can see the surplus, that's obviously our biggest factor that's carrying the budget and the part that we're concerned of. But we were able to reduce the usage by 20% this year. If you look at some of the other numbers that jump out, in the 3 years, we lost almost $60,000 in state aid that came in from them. I do ignore grants because they can vary from year to year. So the fact that there is a big change from year to year, that's not unexpected. There's also grants that get entered along the way. One of the other things the committee has done, if you look at the special items, is they've looked at some of the areas that have been able to be reserved for very specific purposes and they utilized it. So that big 1 million was where we were able to take advantage of the pipeline money that had come into the township several years ago and use that to offset some of the big road projects we have going on. So again, focusing on the amount to be raised, we are actually down 0.01% from the prior year. It's actually about, I think it's 93 cents or something like that. Again, we go through all the safety areas and none of these are impacted by the budget. As Rebecca has stated, as the mayor stated, everybody has agreed to step up and do more with less. And we hope to even improve that picture with hopefully some leftover at the end of the year. But these are the major areas that your tax money to the township supports. Again, just broken down by graphs, and then I've handed out all the detail to those who want to go line by line and given you both the amount of this year and last year and the percentage that changes. Anybody could reach out to me at any time and I'd be happy to explain, the detail behind those general numbers. One of the things we have to do tonight is we have to introduce an amendment. There were a couple of line items that once the state got done with their review, they wanted to see kind of reclassified, and any kind of change of a certain magnitude, we will have a public hearing. So after tonight, we're going to do the public hearing, we're going to have a discussion, you guys are going to introduce a budget amendment. That amendment will have a public hearing on May 14th. It'll then be able to be adopted or not, and right after that, based on the amendment decision, then the budget as a whole would be adopted. So just to kind of describe what I'm talking about in terms of like reclass in different categories. So we took almost $19,000 out of health insurance. It came out of cap and it moved back into cap. That was just a calculation once other changes were made. So 18,500 was moved from police salary and wage to municipal court. Even though they're two different categories, it again isn't in a cap. Police salary and wage is in cap, municipal court is out of cap. So it was just reclassified so we can have it. A little $500 moved between pension plans and $2,000 that came out of the capital improvement section and just went into deferred charge. It's not doing a different purpose. It's just on a different category on the line. So as I said, I will ask that you introduce the amendment tonight as we go through. That will allow us to hold the public hearing at the next meeting, subsequent adoption, and then consideration of adoption on the budget after that on May 14th. Again, you have your budget areas. We spread thin. We do a whole lot with many people. I always point to, there's a couple, there's one employee, 6 or 7 titles for one employee, but there's a lot of different areas that are handled by your administration staff. Your public safety, your public works are separate, but a lot of your administration staff, 4 of which you see here, handle most of those other main areas. We always show our appreciation and spread the communication on your outside organizations. They do a lot for the township, and the township certainly appreciates it. They're always looking for volunteers, always looking for support. You can reach out to any of those disciplines. They'd be happy to hear from you. The township strives for shared services. We are consistently running with the same ones that we've been doing for years, but nicely, we've been able to add a significant one this year, and that's in the area of street sweeping. So our Public Works Department is now under contract to offer street sweeping to North Hanover as well as New Hanover. I believe there's another town in two they're also in discussions with. So I've actually just written the first invoice that will create a little bit of revenue coming back to the township. It would certainly help offset the street sweeper. The street sweeping is coming, it's one of those regulations that the mayor talked about that is coming with a cost, stormwater, street sweeping, it is all under all those new laws that the township has to obey. So at least getting into the sheriff's service, we're getting a little offset on some of those costs we had no choice but to raise. So again, by the diligence of the governing body, there is no tax increase out of this year's budget. You will still be paying an average of a little over $1,700 to the township on your taxes. And the governing body did, the mayor especially, everybody on the governing body, the budget advisory, everybody worked hard to produce no tax impact for the residents this year. And I can answer any and all questions, and if you don't have any tonight, please feel free to call me in the office, I can answer it any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivy.
All right, I'm gonna move back up there for our public hearing. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we will open our public hearing on the budget. Can I get a motion and a second to open the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody who wishes to speak on the budget? Seeing none in the audience, is there anybody online? Seeing none, can I get a motion and a second to close the public hearing on the budget?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we will be moving to adopt that at the next meeting on May 13th. Moving into resolutions.
14th.
14.
14th.
I think it's the
Well,
14th.
let's make sure. Let's make sure.
Yeah, 14th.
May 14th. Thank you. All right, moving on to resolutions. Resolution 2026-04-05, resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the in-kind services agreement with the Chesterfield Township Athletic Association. This is the result of a couple meetings that Denise and I have had with the CTAA. It's been going on even before then, but we were able to come to this agreement with them. They have had an agreement for many, many years to run our recreation and to use our fields and whatnot. And I don't know how to really explain it. With the credit system,
The
that
credit
was
system was
established.
to offset, years ago, monies that the CTAA had spent to do, improvements to the fields that the township did not have at that time. So it was agreed that they would work it off with a credit. That credit is about to expire, and the CTAA had come to us and asked if we could, not charge them at all. And, I was told by someone who knew, and I asked that Dominic to verify it, that, because most of our fields are on, Green Acres land, you cannot not charge. So we decided as a body to go back and revisit doing the credit again. So as Rebecca said, she and I met with the head of the CTAA as well as a couple of their members. And George worked very hard with Mike, who is the head of the CTAA, and came up with this agreement that I think will serve very well for going forward. And I think both bodies are happy with it.
Agreed, thank you. And yeah, I mean, the CTA is wonderful, and I'm glad that we can continue working with them in this way. Can I get a motion and a second on the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2026-04-06, resolution to amend the 2026 approved municipal budget. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just to reiterate, that will be heard as a public hearing at the next meeting.
Thank you. Resolution 2026-04-07, resolution amending and adopting the personnel policies and procedures manual. This is to update our no smoking policy. It was fairly outdated. This updates it with just very quickly, no smoking in township vehicles, equipment, etc. It also increases the boot allowance for public works as we previously discussed. Can I get a motion and a second on the resolution?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-04-08, resolution authorizing the purchase of a Kubota four-wheel drive tractor with terrain king right side mid-mounted flail mower. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-04-09, resolution authorizing refund of tax overpayment for 16 Settlers Street known as Block 202.08, Block 20 due to veteran exemption. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-04-10, resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Chesterfield, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, temporarily suspending the regular operations of the Historic Preservation Commission. As previously noted, we will be having a public hearing for this resolution as well to be in compliance. Can I get a motion and a second to open the public hearing on the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody who wishes to speak on the resolution?
Happy to get up again. Tom Morgan, 26 Church Street, absolutely in favor of the resolution.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else in the room?
May I succeed Jessica Crosswich Road on the favor of this resolution? And just for a side note, for Denise's, would you please read ordinance 130-31, historic building preservation? Under there, it defaults to the planning board, the historical society will advise, and that's been in place since 2006, and still stands today. So I suggest you investigate that and read that, the application. So, agency is suspended. You still have it, you still have ordinance 130-31. And any comments in the historic village preservation zone, which is identical to the current historic district now, is under that auspice, and the planning board can refer anything to, local side.
Susie, I had a question. I tried to find it. I think the only thing 130.31 is missing is a map attached to it. Or-
Right, it is, but from what we can tell, and I don't know if you could legally document it, which I suggest the township investigate. That map seems to be a map that was issued in, I think it's 1970 something, like 76 or 79, I'm not quite sure the year, but it's in that time frame. I'm sorry if I'm not exact. And it's also identical to current historical.
Because what I understand now, and I was trying to articulate, and don't think I was articulating correctly, is the ordinance that was adopted, I believe, in 2019, the current one was just suspended. Prior to that, 2016, prior to that, 130.31 was existent since the 70s, which governed what they called, I believe, a preservation zone, they called it.
Yeah, it's a historic preservation zone.
And 130.31 currently exists. So when I built my house, for example, in 2016, I applied for it.
Prior to the historic.
I had to submit my plans to the Historical Society. The Historical Society then, while it was advisory, gave comments to me.
Right.
And- Yes, and that is still in place, where everything that's submitted to the village will still go, except it goes to the Historical Society now instead of the Historical Preservation.
Still in place, so you still have the backup plan.
Well, I will get in touch with the Historical Society and make them aware that they will now have this additional
They are.
burden.
You are, but that's okay. Wonderful. So I just wanted to clarify that because I know you're trying to explain it.
Yeah, I'm
You did a
bumbling.
good job.
Oh.
Thank you, Gabby. And, you know, you have to understand what rules and regulations you already have in place that you can use for a lot of your toolbox. So, you know, these things are important to know what exactly is going on in the township before you make a statement and say something. So there is still something that is there, but no, it's not the same as the HBC. And, you know, this resolution, I don't think is trying to devalue their efforts. This is trying to make right what needs to be right. That's it. And you have to come to terms with it, and that's just it. It's been a while since that's been done, and it needs to be done. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susie.
Should we add this to the agenda? Should we make a motion to add the resolution to the agenda?
I think it was on before then.
It was on,
No, it's not on my agenda.
on the back.
It was,
I think it was.
it was added before. So.
I just found it
But
inappropriate.
if it wasn't, yes, you'd be right.
Is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on the resolution? Is there anybody online? Seeing none, can I get a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second on the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Karen, can we get a roll call, please?
Sure. Ms. Botcher?
Yeah.
Ms. Cosdale?
No.
Mr. Lika?
Yes.
Mr. Pamphili?
Yes.
And Mayor Hughes.
Yes. Moving on to our bill list, any questions or discussion? If not, can I get a motion and a second on the bill list?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports and discussion, Joe, our engineer, is not here for our engineer report.
I'm not an engineer, but I'll add something I just found out by default because it's on my door. You may want to post it. I know there's going to be water outages, at least on Ward Avenue, if not all across Wicks tomorrow. I guess they're finally replacing the above ground water main going to the turnpike. So I did have a hang tag on my door that between 8 and 4 tomorrow, expect intermittent or total outage. I don't know how far it goes. It might go all the way up to you, Tom.
Goes a long way sometimes.
Rachel, going to you for our Harvest Festival update.
So this year's our 10-year anniversary. We're very excited. It's going to be on Saturday, September 26th, Village Square Park. Hours right now are noon to 4 as always, but that could change. I started advertising the event on social media, sent out email blasts to past vendors, letters to past and potential sponsors. And we've already started receiving many vendor applications, payment, and sponsors. So we're continuing to charge the vendors again this year, as you had said earlier, Rebecca, $50 for vendors, $100 for food trucks, but nonprofits such as the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Community Association, all of that, that's no fee. So far, we booked a band, possibly we'll have a second band. We're in the process of booking the carnival rides and tents. We will once again bring back the pumpkin games, swimming rides, petting zoo, all of the local organizations, police, fire, EMS, all of that stuff. And new this year so far, that Iron Brewery, they're actually, the owners all live in Chesterfield. They're a wonderful group of wonderful families. And they are going to have a beer garden and possible cornhole. We're adding more carnival rides, a larger 3-in-1 game truck, possibly a trackless train ride. We'd love to bring back the hayride that we did years back with Mike Russo had done that for us. So if anybody knows of anyone looking to do a hayride, we definitely want to do that. The PTA will be doing a 50-50 raffle. So far that's it, but we're up for any suggestions and it's still really early on.
Thanks, Rachel, and just echo that, please reach out to me, reach out to Rachel if you have any ideas, suggestions. It's still very early in the planning stages, so we'd love to hear what people would like to see there. Denise and Sarucci, Farm Trail Initiative.
Yes, I would like to briefly update the committee on the Farm Trail Initiative that we have been working on. By we, I mean, Denise, I, Roseanne, and Hilda has been the driving force behind this initiative actually. And she's here tonight to, give us more details and information and additional insights. So we've been working on this Farm Trail Initiative and the recently announced specialty block grant program that's open to us. So, and we, over the past few weeks and months, actually, we've been reaching out to local farms in Chesterfield, in northern Burlington County, to gauge their interest and to explore, possibilities of partnership with them. Well, the goal of the initiative, just to kind of sum it up, is to promote agri-tourism, and just help support our agricultural community to see how we can, help them, or support them in a way that there are available funding and resources. So we are trying to support them and by increasing their visibility, helping them with some marketing efforts and things like that. So again, I would like to invite Gila to come and speak to the committee, and she could give us some additional details here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so most of you know me already. My name is Gilda Zarada. I live in Chesterfield Township, and I'm a member of the planning board, and we are going. And I'm not going to belabor too much into why the idea started, but I guess it comes from a desire to, instead of waiting for business to come to our township, where sometimes there's clashes between our character as a rural agricultural area. There may be some clashes with their objectives, their way of operation, etc. Instead of waiting for the economy to grow to grow from outside the township, what I thought is, well, let's have some organic growth, right? And what do we have in the township? We have farms and farm-related businesses. So what best to grow the farms and farm-related businesses than create a farm trail? And I would like to explain what is a farm trail. It's not a new concept. It's used in many other states. Here in New Jersey, we have two, more or less in the vicinity. There's one in Monmouth County, which is growing in Monmouth. There's another one in Cumberland County, Northwest. It's called Trail 579. And so what we want to do, and what the trail wants to achieve, is create a group of farms, right? So the farms, instead of advertising singularly, by themselves, obviously this is the age of information, they do that, but not necessarily together. What do we achieve by advertising? And we think about, road signage, website, social media, publications at a regional level, like Visit New Jersey, Eat New Jersey, this kind of thing. What we achieve is that instead of us taking a long time to actually find all the farm-related businesses in the area, actually, if we find one, we will find all of them, right? Because all of them will be advertising together. So, okay. So that's one advantage, and this will create more repeat customers for the farms that are offering something. They will, because when you come to one business, you may stop at the other one. It'll create more visitors or more customers for the smaller farms, because the big farms will probably be the ones that are already attracting most of them. Okay, so so not only the farms are benefiting from this increased customer base, let's just say, repeat visitors, etc. It's also the local businesses, because just imagine you're a family, you come with your children. It's lunchtime. What do? Well, you go buy a sandwich, you go buy lunch, you go buy pizza. If you're a couple, it's dinner time, or you want a cocktail, you want a glass of wine. All these things are being offered in the community, but we actually know about them. Well, many of you have lived here a long time, but I can tell you, it took me a long time. And actually, it has just been after doing research on the trail that I'm discovering all the good things that we have around us. So we want to just, get everybody going together and improving their customer base. there's two more objectives. We also have an educational objective, which we want to address by when we advertise the farms or when we get this app that we will use, to track attendance, etc. We'll also post educational videos or how things are made, how things are harvested. We want to get the community to approach the farms, right? Food does not come from the supermarket. It comes from the farm. It comes from the soil, right? So we want to have the community become or have this ownership of what is around us, right? So that's part of the driver here as well. And the other thing is community, right? As part of the farm, we want to keep this farm trail alive. We want to, we've been asking the farms before we talking to some, what we will ask from them is to give us activities, one or two per season, so that the farm trail is alive. So if you have nothing to do with your family and you don't necessarily have to buy anything, so you go to the website, you go to the social media, whatever, you go to the app, and then you find out, oh, we can do this. We can go to this place, they're having a tomato festival, they're having this or that. So obviously that gathers the community, it's a good thing, and also keeps the farm trail alive. Okay, so how do we launch? And this comes to the part where the township is. We have verified that the farms actually work. Because without them, we don't have. We have a list of 20 farms and farm-related businesses. We have reached out to 10 already. Among them, Lily Farms, anyway. So some of the big ones and also some of the small ones. Everybody's excited. They think it's a good idea. They think it will help them reach out to customers for their new produce or their new value-added products, or everybody has a different idea of how to advance the farm. So there's buy-in already. We're also using volunteers, obviously, Richie already addressed this. And the third big important thing is we didn't feel that we could ask the farmers to actually put a membership fee to belong to something that has not been proven to be a favorable thing for them. So what we decided to do is go for grants. There were 2 grants that were offered that were being offered this year. One of them was the agritourism grant that was out for applications in January. This agritourism grant had $5 million, $100,000 per grant project. We could not apply because we needed a lead farm. There's another grant that has just over 2 applications called Specialty Crop Grant. But it looks to bolster the production, the sales, the diffusion of specialty crops. And by that, they mean everything other than poultry, livestock, grain, the big volume things that come from. So it's very pertinent for our area. So we think we can apply. I'm in close touch with the administrator, Billy Connors from New Jersey Department of Agriculture, advising us all this time. I've also gotten the person who's in charge of BC Bridges for Burlington County, so for business, promoting businesses in the county, to give us a letter of support. We think we can apply to the specialty crop grant, but we need an applicant. And this is why we're here today, because the local governments can be applicants to this grant. We need a corporation with a tax ID number, so the township could be this applicant's name. So this grant can be as much as $40,000. We think we can launch the farm trail with all the things that we have already planned with this money.
There is a portion of the grant that can address some administrative costs, 8 to 10% of the grant, I think it's very quite. But that would be, for reporting the expenses. Because the way it works is, so you are given a maximum of 40,000, but you have to get quotes, you have to get orders to buy things, and the money to reimburse, and it's like you get quotes and the money. And, you know, as you progress, you receive the money. You don't get the money and then. Anyway, so there would have to be some management involved, but obviously it would have to be made easy by the volunteers, for example, to handle. But there still is a little bit of management that can be addressed with some money. So, anyway, that's all I wanted to say, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy.
And the grant is due March 14th.
Yes, good. We only have one month, yeah, well, it was a 1 month period for application that opened.
Just came out on Monday.
So this is why we try to get this issue in front of you today, because the next meeting.
Thank you. So I'd like
Thank you.
to, I'm hoping that the body is in favor of this and supportive, that we have a resolution that we could include with the grant application from the township.
I just have, are we asking the township to manage it, or are we asking the township to endorse it, and the volunteers are managing it? I just.
The second one.
Okay, so township endorses, the volunteers manage.
But there will be
some management.
There will be some administration. There will be some administration part for the township because the expenses will be in the name of the township. Of course, you know, like the volunteers would make it easy, right? Like a spreadsheet.
Gilda, can you come up to the microphone, please? That's okay, just so we have it all on tape.
Yes. So what I was saying is, there will be a small part of management from the township because the township is the one which will receive the money. And there will be all the, I mean, we can create a spreadsheet of all the expenses, for example. But it's not us who will submit the expenses, you know, for tax-related purposes, for example. It's the township.
So my question is, so this is a reimbursable grant. The money's coming into the township. The township is the one who's going to have to spend the money.
Who's getting the quotes?
That's what I'm saying. I think there's more.
Because the township would be involved, they would still have to meet all the purchasing and.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, probably why you're talking about there is a little bit that would be allowed for administration. They certainly, I mean, you know, and I do turn around to Roseanne, who certainly, we did this in conjunction for community gardens, and she spent some time and she got a lot of the quotes. And then I did my diligence to make sure that it met, you know, the New Jersey standard. So I think, are you talking similarly, something very similar to that? Yeah, that's just what it sounded.
You would hold, the township would hold the money.
And would hold the responsibility of making sure that the same municipal laws are followed with everything.
But there would be money in the grant to reimburse the township for that.
And the township,
Administrative costs.
but the township wouldn't be paying it and getting reimbursed. The grant, we wouldn't reimburse until we got.
We would have to pay for it.
There's two ways. You can get a quote and submit it to the grant administrators, and then they will give you the money to pay the quote. So that way the township is not out money, like we were just saying in the pre. That's what you just said is also possible. There can be an expense and then a reimbursement. It's however the township would like to.
My concern with the reimbursement would be that they would actually approve that. If that was something that, yes, everybody thought would be an approved cost, and then it goes in there and they don't, and if we put the money, that's the only thing that I would be concerned about for the township portion.
I mean, that's a diligence that would have to be done by the township to make sure that any expense would be reimbursed. That's how the reimbursement grants go through.
Probably the township would not have to do that. There's already a USDA page.
They give you standards to follow.
They tell you what expenses are allowed and what expenses are not.
But you're saying that we could, that the the volunteers could say, okay, we want this, put into the grant, get the money.
Get a
and
quote,
then-
submit the quote, then the grant can pay the money, and then the money can be spent. So in that way, you know that you're spending money.
The money, the township isn't spending money up front.
I mean, I think it sounds great. I think we all want to support our farms in any way. I am a little concerned just about the compliance piece, just quickly going through. I mean, if the township is gonna have their neck in the game, and I mean, it includes specialty crops, but it doesn't include eggs, and it includes this, but it doesn't include dairy. I mean, who's just gonna be monitoring to make sure that we're in compliance with the grant, so that we're not gonna be facing any type of.
Well, we already are aware of what's included and what's not, so we're not including farms that are in the part that the grant is saying is not going to be. So we had a list of more farms, but we have to.
So we've been in the process of identifying those farms and reaching out to those farms, over the past few weeks.
But the list is there, and we are not including farms that would have a product that would not qualify as a specialty crop already.
And this wouldn't be helping start a new farm. And the reason I ask this is I know that right to farm law says wineries are agricultural based. I don't find more. So this would be just existing farms. You're not donating.
Actually, winery is
Well, it is, but I'm not looking to invest in them because I don't think if you look at New Egypt, it hasn't been good for New Egypt.
well, there is only one.
Yeah.
I don't think,
I just want to make sure the
I don't
money.
think the money that's in the grant would cover, you know.
So we're not investing in the farms,
Okay.
we're investing in advertising.
Understood.
And, for farm division.
So we are the applicants. It's a township grant. And these are the folks that would work the grant. But it's an electronic application, so I assume that you, grant expert, me, would do the application like the others, because we need that to be in there.
I can give you a draft
And so,
Well, so, when we did the BPU grant, I did the mechanics of getting it to BPU. She did a fabulous job writing the grant. So, well, you did. You did. I said that to everybody in the room one time. So that was the way it worked, and we're still tracking now because we did get approved for the 10,000. We're waiting for the approval to execute the agreement. So
George,
that would be the way.
is this something you could handle?
I think I can. I did before. I was involved with Roseanne, with the Sustainable Jersey, so.
What about the future funding? I mean, the 40 only gets us so far. How are we gonna keep the program going?
Yeah, so this is a question that the New Jersey Department of Agriculture also asked, and they already asked me, and I said, you know, if this is successful, there will be sponsors. And so we can work with the sponsorship, like we do for the festival. Because not just the farms benefit, the local economy. So they should be with because of that.
Got a question. I see it's for Northern Burlington, which includes Chesterfield, Springfield, Wrightstown, North Hanover, New Hanover, Bordertown, Mansfield. Are they all also applying for this grant from their township?
No, I'm looking to Chesterfield to be the leader in this application. So so we have in the 20 farms, we have 1/3 of them are in Chesterfield Township. But we didn't have the variety to create the interest in the trail that was really necessary. Or was really appropriate in our minds. We used to talk to Brian Wilson, who was he used to work for Burlington County for the PR, and he was telling us, Northern Burlington, or Burlington has wanted to do this for a long time, the county, but we just have not managed. But, if you take, a reduced number of townships and then you increase your base, and increase the interest, people will come more than if there's just vegetables. That was the reason.
If Chesterfield,
Also, 10 farms is a small one.
if Chesterfield is taking the lead, how do we make sure our farms benefit the most?
Well, what we can do, and we've been thinking about it, is we will need a committee of, leading farms to be the ones basically bringing this to, or helping the volunteers bring the farm trail in the direction that the community really wants. And I think Chesterfield Farms are the ones that have to be leading because it's.
Well, I'm assuming if this is an app, just like anything, if I,
It will have an app, but it will have websites. and
Correct.
social media.
but getting back to when I advertise my houses, depends what I pay, what search engine I pay it on to be at the top. I would like Chesterfield Farms to be at the top of the search. I mean, I'm going to be really upset if we approve this and Springfield has the first 5 farms and we have the last 5 farms. Or
Well,
Bordentown.
yeah,
Yeah,
so.
so I want that as part of the
There's no
condition.
priority in the farms, I mean, these are details, but
Yeah.
when, the way I envision it is, you are looking for carrots. And so there will be some of the farms that will be selling vegetables.
Mhm.
There will be no, and they will give you the locations. With, with 20 farms, you won't miss it. Maybe in the future, we'll have some.
I still would like the Chesterfields to be at the top of the 20 in each category. I'm selfish and I'm a
You
capitalist.
will see all of them, we're not so.
Can the other towns apply for the same grant for the same project or no?
I mean, they could, but then.
Not for the same product.
Chances of getting, us getting a grant.
Oh, yeah, okay, everything is possible.
And we don't have enough farms, I don't think, that they would look at it positively to get the grant.
We don't have enough specialty ones.
Special farms, that's what I mean.
As long as Chesterfield farmers get a priority in this and George Fields could handle it, I'm fine with it. My first reaction was if we were investing in future farms, which I read it's not. So.
Yeah, I do think that, I agree completely. It might be a good opportunity to get the Economic Advisory Committee involved as well, to fix their brains and have a meeting maybe to share this and see if they can be part of that committee that you're talking about. Sure, that's a good group of folks to do that.
I think Lisa, you're also on that committee.
So she can I think you're the liaison, Jeremy. You can maybe organize a meeting.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have an issue with us doing a resolution then to report?
I don't.
I'm in favor of it.
I think you gotta take action now, Mayor, at least in the form of a motion at a minimum to authorize the township to work on and submit, because we are the ones submitting the grant, so I think.
Okay, can we get a motion in a second?
Second.
All in favor?
So, just so I'm clear, Dominic, so we're authorizing the resolution. The resolution can be written and going in the package. The reason why I'm asking that is because the grant is due on May 14th, which is our next meeting.
I don't know if you need a resolution. We're the applicant, right? So it's not like
Yeah.
we're gonna endorse ourselves, like, I don't know.
Well, I guess George was the one that suggested that.
I think George I think we were all thinking like they were, right? I mean, I might be wrong, that we weren't gonna be the
We
applicant.
didn't really know.
Right.
Who the originators of the application were. I know one of the things that the package has is upload supporting documents, but you'd be supporting your own application. They don't, it doesn't look like they're required. We both looked through it all.
Right.
I couldn't find one that said you have to have it. So,
The supporting documents, I guess, would include the letters of support, right?
Yes,
Like,
Yeah.
so we would like, we would like to have a letter of support from Chesterfield Township on the applicants who have support. But there's, your taxpayer ID has to be on the form.
I think when you get down into the weeds is we want to be able to document that this was approved by the township committee and supported by the township committee, that the township applied for the grant, right? I mean.
I think we just did that. I think we just did that, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm saying a written document that could go with whatever form that takes.
If you want, we
I
can,
hate to lose it on sometimes, I mean, it sounds picky, but sometimes it's.
There may be a spot on the application where we could just make a note that the township committee unanimously voted to support this application.
Yeah, can we get a letter saying that? I mean, would that be, there's nowhere in the, I mean, there's a place for letters of support. If the township could write a letter of support, but obviously they're the applicant, they have to be supporting it, so it's kind of redundant.
It might help more to have other outside letters, but I don't see why we can't draft with letters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Bill is definitely trying to get us.
Because we have a very tight window on this, so, we want to be proactive. Also, there's I think, a webinar coming up on Tuesday morning for folks who, I guess, need more information or have questions. We can share the link, right, with the committee.
Sure. Gavin, thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you.
She has put in.
She's been the driving force behind it, so I would really give her a big shout out.
Spent hours of her time.
Okay, reports of administration, the only thing that I would just make a note, we have Code with a Cop, our next community policing event is coming up on May 16th from 12 to 2 over at the playground by the recycling yard. It overlaps with the Environmental Commission's rigid recycling plastic event, which will be running from 10 to 2. It should be a fun one, I hope that we get a good turnout. Township Committee?
I just wanted to say that, we're getting into the, busy season for the, Florida Alliance Against Substance Abuse. Thursday, the 30th, they're going to be having a, Dr. Collier, who is an expert on, drugs and alcohol abuse amongst youth. He's going to be providing here a workshop on vaping for parents, as well as, it's going to be on vaping for half of the time, and then the other time is going to be how to help your teens navigate their way through being teenagers in our society. So if you could spread the word to anyone you know who has teens, preteens, we have two Northern Burlington students who sit on the Alliance, and they were the ones that were the ones that said that vaping is an issue at Northern. They know that there's a lot of kids at Northern that vape, and they felt that that would be something that parents really should learn about. So that's one of the reasons why we went in that direction. So I hope that the Township Committee will support that and forward everything that's going on about it. They also have on May 20th will be the Alliance's first Music in the Square. So that's May 20th. And I'm sorry to say I didn't write down the name of the band, but they're all great. So they'll be great. And that's going to be in Village Square Park. And they're always a fun night. You can bring a picnic and listen to the band, and it's a really a great activity.
And I wanted to remind everyone that Green Fair is almost, it's time for the Green Fair. We're expecting a great lineup of vendors, food vendors, eco-friendly activities, demos, a lot of fun stuff for the kids. So please spread the word, and we hope to see all of you there. Hopefully, the weather cooperates this time. And Rachel, thank you so much for all the work you've done and all the coordination with the vendors and everything. We really appreciate it.
You guys good?
I am not.
Okay, moving on to administration, George.
Just a couple things. Our health insurance sign up for the high deductible plan has been going on since the 13th, and it will end on Monday, the 27th. We don't have an exact count. I know there are several employees that intend to sign up. I know Wendy's assisted a few folks on registering for the program, so we'll have a better idea next week on the level of participation. And again, it's an opportunity for our employees to save approximately 40% of their Chapter 78 contributions for their health care. If we had full participation from all of our insured employees, it could save the township 15%. I don't know that we're going to get that big a number, but there will be at least a handful of employees that take advantage of it. Also, unfortunately, we did not get the local recreation improvement grant from the state of New Jersey. That was for Fenton Lane driveway paving. The community development block grant application that Joe filled out to Burlington County, sometime within a week or so, there should be a decision on that. I serve on the executive advisory committee. I won't be here next week when they meet, but I did put in by email our vote for support of the recommendations that the board has done. So fingers crossed that we'll get something out of that grant. And that was for sidewalks and ADA ramps, replacements for the township. And that was all I have.
Thanks,
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
George.
Thank you, George. Moving into public comment part 2, same rules as public comment part 1, 3 minutes, state your name and address.
Motion?
Can I get a motion and a second to open public comment?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Is there anybody who wishes to speak?
Ron Mayon, 16 Chesterfield, Crosswoods Road. For your vote on the suspension of the historic. Appreciate that. That was a long time coming. And probably would have never came up if the maps were redrawn years ago. As promised, didn't happen. I'm glad to see this, came through. Also, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, working on the council here. Some of your personal time, and we do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? Anybody online? Seeing none, can I get a motion in a second to close public comment?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have no executive session. Can I get a motion in a second to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
For the service side.